Good morning, hello, and welcome to our Saturday TNT, coming to you live from the bowels of my living room. Hoping everything is working, and as usual, great to have you. Now, today it's just me and you. I sort of look at it as a bit of a pre-Valentine's Day intimate get-together of just us people. So I'm just making sure everything's working because I don't have Nick here today because he's deserted the ship and he's off playing army stuff. Now, a lot of people have asked, where is Nick? So actually, I can show you. This is, can I show you? It's going to be one of those days. There he is, all dressed up with nowhere to go. And that's him with the, I suppose, the Thai version of the Army Reserves doing his training. I think they go down to the costume shop and they get their army uniforms. But he has to do that for, I think it's about 2 weeks. He will be back next weekend, so I'm sure we'll hear all about it and we can talk about his haircut. But tomorrow I do have a guest, and that's going to be the snake guy. Now, there is a lot to learn about Thai snakes, and there's a hell of a lot of misinformation about Thai snakes. So hopefully tomorrow we can go through some of the things you should know about Thai snakes. And thank you, Nick. That's ready for our next story. And you can ask as many questions as you like about that. Now, we may get an appearance from the cats at some stage. Everything is completely unpredictable on these programs. Now, I just noticed in the comments section, hello, Icy, Nongwasu, we've got Jason. Who else we got? We've got John D, Bob B, Peter, hello from a very cold Manchester. Scott D saying that we're going to embark upon a somewhat aged yet beautifully maintained and somewhat affordable Gulfstream 4 jet with a seating capacity of up to 19. Destination Hong Kong for high tea. Well, thank you very much for the invitation, Scott. And so I take it that you'll be flying via Phuket. So we got an airport here, and I think they can accommodate a Gulfstream 4 very well. And if you could just give me a time, probably about an hour's notice, so I can just get up to the airport and get through immigration and stuff like that. But really appreciate the invitation and look forward to joining your party for high tea in Hong Kong. What a very debauched and wonderful thing that is. Morning from Sydney, everybody, says Jason. I am finding it a little bit hard to see. The sun is streaming through the window. It is so bright. Actually, today, the weather, I just did the weather report and it is absolutely perfect. We've got 2 days of spectacular weather here in Phuket. Now, I could talk about the air quality up in the north of Thailand today, which is horrendous, but I won't. I was going to show you the IQ air map, but it's pretty awful. But we are very lucky down here in the south. We don't seem to have those air quality problems. So let's get into it. Hello, John's Journey, Andrew. Wow, so many people. Scott D seems to be laughing. No, Scott, I'm absolutely serious. I'm expecting an invitation, and I'm expecting to join you for high tea in Hong Kong. Indeed. Antoine, I haven't seen snakes in Bangkok. Do snakes live in cities or do they prefer more rural areas? Be assured that wherever you are in Bangkok, you're not too far away from a snake, although they're not that easy, of course, to see and they'll keep out of the way of human beings. But of course, once you get out of the cities, you're more likely to run into a snake, and they like hiding in forests, especially, I'm told, rubber tree plantations, of which there are plenty of in Phuket. Hi, Tim. How's your Atto 3 going? What's happening with Gary says. What sort of name is that, by the way? Anyway, there are more snakes in Bangkok than people. You're probably right, Stefan. So I'm back to this, trying to read your comments, trying to think of something intelligent to say, and also trying to keep on top of what's happening with our actual topics. I am going to be talking about the Thai baht in a moment because we had quite a reaction to Thursday's program when we were talking about the surging Thai baht. Oh, Aussie Chris, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Very kind donation to the program. So, morning, Tim, says Aussie Chris, sitting on a sunny Merimbula beach. I love Merimbula. Bega, I'm going to drop my pen, excuse me. I told you it's going to be one of those days. Ugh! Eating Bega cheese, listening to my favourite program. Oh, that is very, very kind. Thank you very much, Aussie Chris. Merimbula up there, just north of Brisbane on what they call the Sunshine Coast. No, am I right? Or Merimbula, or is this south of Sydney, Merimbula? Oh my God. I think we're talking south of Sydney. I've been away for 12 years. I've forgotten where everything is in Australia. I was just there a couple of months ago. I should remember. Tell me, Chris, Merimbula, south of Sydney. Yeah? I'm sure I just went through it about 3 months ago. Anyway, I wanted to talk about the... Chris, I'm sure, will tell me. I wanted to talk about the baht because there has been a lot of discussion, and I'll go through some of the comments I received from you. Google, Tim. Yeah, well, I can't Google while I'm doing everything else. So this is from the Thai Examiner. Oh, dear. Press the button. ThaiExaminer.com, and it talks about a volatile and expensive baht, a problem for the economy, could be subject to speculative trading. Get rid of that and scan across there. And the ThaiExaminer.com says the government's economic planners are nervously poring over the numbers on the economy. This has already led to the 2022, I think it means 2023, growth figures being pared back. And on Friday, they saw the country's finance minister warn about the damage being done by the higher-priced Thai baht. And this paragraph is quite interesting in relation to this. Just get rid of me. Thailand's currency, the baht, could be the subject of speculation, driving it higher as traders short the US dollar in anticipation of an easing of interest rates by the Federal Reserve in the US. Now, I have to say that we got maybe about 50 responses to our comments about the Thai baht, and everybody had their own theory, such that I don't believe that anybody exactly knows, and it's probably a combination of all those things you said, but all these desktop economists telling me exactly what was happening with the Thai baht, but everybody had quite different theories. So it was interesting that I don't think anybody exactly knows what keeps the baht so high. And I personally believe that it is a combination of lots and lots of things, that it's really hard to sort of control all those things at one time. But the story goes on saying that this proposition took a hit on Monday when we saw the baht decline by over 3% against the US dollar in one day, its largest drop in 23 years. Nevertheless, on Friday, the Minister of Finance insisted on the ongoing strength of the baht was a key concern for the kingdom's economic prospects. Now, this, of course, will affect everything from exports to people travelling here. I'm sure people are going to be telling me where Merimbula is. I'm sure it's south of Sydney, and I'm absolutely sure I stayed there about 3 months ago. Albert Coe asked me, do I love Vegemite? No, I don't love Vegemite. I do love Promite, which is, I think one's a yeast extract and one's a vegetable extract. They're both black, gooey concoctions that are very Australian. And I, in fact, had Promite on my toast this morning. So I prefer Promite over Vegemite, but I'm quite happy to eat Vegemite from time to time. Aussie Chris, yes, mate, you did a morning news program from here. Oh, dear. There's what is the one? It sounds like Merimbula. Anyway, yes, I was in Merimbula back in October last year. Where did I do the program from Merimbula? I'll have to go back through my photos to remind me. I'm getting totally dotty. I'm going to be 64 in 9 days. And I keep on thinking of the Beatles song When I'm 64. So I'm getting to that crazy age. Ah, dear, oh dear. Anyway, let's go to what you said about, Tim, you're able to find the piano you were looking for. Mango sticky rice. Yes, I've got a few options for the piano. Just mentioning that yesterday we got notice that my favourite composer of all time died. His name's Burt Bacharach, and he sort of wrote the pop soundtrack for the 60s and the 70s. so many songs that I listed in a quick obituary I did on my Facebook page. But I wanted to salute his work and my love of his music with a little bit of a tribute. And so I was looking for, well, I've got my own piano here that I have, by the way, got working since. And but it's just an electric piano. It sounds okay, but I thought it'd be nice if I could find a grand piano. Now, the problem with proper grand pianos, Steinways and Yamahas and things like that, is that it's very hard to keep them in tune in a humid climate like this. Unless you've got a climate-controlled room, fully air-conditioned 24/7, you're never going to keep a traditional piano in tune. But I am going to figure something out, and I am going to do a tribute. I might even be singing a little bit, which you really shouldn't be looking forward to. But he wrote so much good music, and it rings around in my head every single day. Or the great contribution to the American songbook. Burt Bacharach, dead at 94 years old. Got to see him 3 times performing with an orchestra each time. In Melbourne, twice with the Melbourne Philharmonic Orchestra, and once in Adelaide with the South Australian Philharmonic Orchestra. What a great event that was, because much of his music, whilst his pop tunes were very catchy, he used to sort of infuse them with crazy time signatures and sort of exotic key changes. And to have that performed by a symphony orchestra, as he originally planned for much of his music, but of course he's so well known for his songs he did with Dionne Warwick, and I could go on and on and on. But yeah, very sad that he passed. So yes, I sort of had got the piano thing sorted out, sort of. Thank you, Mango Sticky Rice. Let's get to... keep on getting sidetracked. Let's go to some of your comments that you expressed yesterday about the Thai baht. Steve Richard said, the Thai baht's always been linked to the gold price. Thailand has one of the larger gold reserves, so when the gold price is strong, so is the Thai baht, hence why the Australian dollar hangs in against the Thai baht. Robert Flint said the Thai baht is strong because tourism is surging again in Thai, especially with arrivals from neighbouring Asian countries. Hyperspace Holiday says, why is the Thai baht strong? Probably the 20 million or more foreign tourists in Thailand compared with the year before. Well, we haven't got to 20 million yet. We're a long way from that. Sagi1916 says Thai baht is not surging against the euro if you ignore the COVID era. I don't think you can ignore the COVID era. I remember in 2019 it was as low as 33.5 baht to the euro. It's now over 36. The baht is seen as a good, safe investment. Dogs going crazy out there for years in Asia and will continue to do so in the near future. 2 more. Ollie Nilsson says, it always happens that the currency increases before it crashes. Thailand's rate is abnormal compared to other countries per capita. Therefore, they turn up the number of tourists simply too high. It has not increased in January, as it said in the media. It actually has increased in January, despite a dip over the past week, but it did increase quite a lot during January. John Swift says, it's to do with the government talking the Thai baht up. Remember the tourist numbers. Some only hear this and not see it like we do living around Thailand. So quite a few people sharing their comments about the rising Thai baht. So let's go to the comment section and see. Pambula is near Marimbula. Yes, thanks, Robbie. Just forgetting my The Look of Love, great Burt Bacharach song, says Bill Ellis, as I'm trying to sort of get my Australian geography back in my head. 150 kilometres south of Sydney. Had to Google it. Thanks, Stefan. Yeah, it was somewhere I stayed, the last place we stayed before we headed up to Sydney in our road trip all the way from Gippsland along the coast. Very beautiful part of the world and great roads. Better roads in Victoria than New South Wales. But anyway, it was a great trip nonetheless, and passing through some of those lovely coastal areas on the way. It seems to me that everything is getting a bit more costly here in Phuket, says Jan Landy. Now, that's an interesting comment, Jan. Let me say this, that over the past 3 months, since we've had such a surge in tourists, that the cost of rentals of bikes, cars, villas has exploded. Now, compared to, say, 6 months ago, those items have literally doubled in price. Now, all that, when you sort of add it to the rest of the Phuket economy, pushes rental prices for everything up. It pushes the cost of living up for normal Thais. I know of quite a few foreign friends of mine that were kicked out of their condos because they could get double the price during this period. Now, the number of arrivals in Phuket, and I imagine this can be mapped over other parts of Thailand as well, has sort of flatlined. It's settled down a bit since that surge pre-Christmas and during the Chinese New Year. But you're right, Jan, there has been a big surge in things that relate to tourism, especially. Now, if you go to a place like Patong, the hotel prices have doubled. But you can still find a quite cheap room if you go to the north of Thailand or to the east coast. But interesting comment. Thanks, Jan. Looking good for 65, not 65, 64. Gee, John, give me a chance. Hi, Gary. Just seen is south of Sydney, halfway to Melbourne. Thanks, Ray. Pattaya knows how to run a great festival this weekend, says Mike Bridge. Hi, Mike. Burapa Bike Festival is still on tonight. 20,000 turned up last night. I don't know a lot about the Burapa Bike Festival, but Mike tells me it's still on. So if we're talking treadlies or we're talking motorbikes. I mean, can I bring my Zoomer along, my Honda Zoomer? I think they'd all be impressed. I mean, if I'm going down a hill, I can get that thing up to nearly 80 kilometers an hour. So watch out, bikers. I'm coming for you. I've got my bike gloves and everything. To everybody telling me where Merimbula is, I just feel like such an idiot. Why did I think it was? I thought it was on the Sunshine Coast for there for a moment. I know him through Austin Powers. Yes, Burt Bacharach came back in a bit of a sort of a comeback when Mike Myers invited him to be on the first Austin Powers movie, singing "What the World Needs Now Is Love, Sweet Love." That's right. Merimbula is just under 6 hours drive from Sydney. Oh dear. So somebody said it was 150 kilometres. So anyway, it is on that coast road. I think it's about halfway from Melbourne to Sydney. Is that where you got a fine, says Nong Wo Su. Nong Wo So. No, I got the fine actually in Sydney. I was doing 50 in a 40 zone. People were walking faster than me driving around Sydney. So yeah, that was... Hands don't. Just don't go there. So, yeah, I got fined. I think it was 185 Australian dollars. It was quite steep, but I paid it because, well, I want to go back to Australia one day, and I'm sure if I didn't pay it, they would have tracked me down and they'd know. Something that wouldn't probably happen here in Thailand. Asking for a friend, says Reg. What are you asking? Merimbula is the forgotten southeast corner of New South Wales. They need to go to Canberra for health, education and shopping. Yeah, Merimbula is a sort of a bit of a quiet coastal town. Probably, I think it would be a very nice place to retire, actually. Okay, what else have we got? Rock and roll and lots of big bikes. Okay, so the Burapa Bike Festival that's on in Pattaya, and they need to thank Mike Bridge for this promotion. It's rock and roll and lots of big bikes. So I'm not sure if my Zoom is going to cut it. Not much I can do to butch up my Zoomer, I'm afraid. Melina Dietrich gave him a great start. Yes, I think he did play the piano for Melina Dietrich in his early career. But, gee, I mean, if you start to list the songs that he wrote, a lot of people don't know of Burt Bacharach, but if you play some of the songs, Close to You by the Carpenters was a big hit in the 70s, written by Burt Bacharach. So a lot of people would know his music and maybe not familiar with his actual name. Morning from a smoky Mare Chan, says Chris Roberts. Now, I take it that must be up in the north of Thailand. If it is, I had a look at the maps this morning and it looks really smoky and smoggy up there today. So keep inside and turn the air conditioner on, I suppose. What qualifies as a big bike in Thailand? Well, that's a good question. What are you saying, Mike? I'm thinking perhaps over 500cc would qualify. The thing that Nick drives, he's pretty tall, but he looks tiny on this bike. It's a something 750 something. I can't remember. But he'll turn up in. I can hear him when he's about half a kilometre away. And I go out and meet him at the gate and he goes, "Oh, damn." He tries to do it quietly, but he can't fool me. Chris Roberts, it's above Chiang Rai. So you're right up the very, 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 very north of Thailand near the Myanmar border. John says, I know some Aussies are deferring their Thailand holidays due to the expense. Now, I'm going to make a video later today talking specifically about the impact of the Thai baht and the lowering of the UK pound against the Thai baht. And if you have a look over 20 years, it's had a huge and profound effect. Especially the people that maybe moved to Thailand in their 50s and they're now in the 70s and living off the pension. And what might have been a lot of money to them in Thailand 20 years ago, they're now probably really scraping. So we're going to have a talk about that specifically in a little short video I'm doing tomorrow. Scott D, thank you very much for a very kind donation, $9.99. Strange conversion. That will pay for my taxi fare so I can get to the airport to meet you when you pick me up in your Gulfstream 4, taking me to High Tea in Hong Kong. I do need a date. Towards the expensive Australian speeding ticket. I really enjoyed those episodes. Yeah, look, my idea now with TNT, and I mean, I've got Nick here on the weekends, but I'm hoping to do a little bit of a road trip. Wi-Fi and gear and just keeping everything working in remote locations if you don't have a lot of time to test, and especially if you do a morning program where I'm up at like 6 in the morning and you don't sort of get a chance to fix things up if things go wrong. It's a bit of a chance, but we did it during my trip from Phuket to Bangkok recently, and we got the program out. But sometimes, you got 5G on your phone, but it's very, very, very slow if you're sort of out of the main tourism and capital areas. Anyway, Scott D, thank you very much for your generosity. Now, speaking of which, and we're going to have a talk about 44 foreign drivers arrested in Patong. And another story from Phuket yesterday. But we've got these. So let me go to this page here. I'll get to that. So this is one of my old shirts that I used to wear, the old Songkran shirts, being turned into a toy elephant by the people down at Seeds of Change. Ears and a tail and everything. And there's 30 of them. And I'll just go through them here. So, I've got to press this over here. And this is from Phuket Go. I'll put a link in the description after the program. And it's the Toy Elephant Charity Auction raising funds for Phuket's Seeds of Change. And there's me with a few of them. And they came in different sizes, and there's a whole lot of different shirts, including that really, really big one there. And we haven't, I've got one bid for that. And they've bid over the asking price. So thank you very much to that person. I think that includes every single one of my old shirts. But there's a whole list. There's me, what I used to wear the shirts. And then down here, here's a list of them. And they've all got numbers. So you just log on to the email and give us your name, your email, and the number of the elephant and the bid. We've got Amazon Amy, and we've got Blue Brianna, Chalky Chelsea, we've got Checkered Charlie, Hawaiian Hallie, Jungle Jan, Purple Pepper, Songkran Sally, Stripey Susan, and Violet Valerie. I want to come back in my next life naming colours for a paint company. I think that would be a great vocation for me. It was fun coming up with these names. But they go on, there's different sizes. So the same names, got the same fabrics, but they're a little bit bigger. And then we get around to number 20, and we get to the larger ones. and they are the same size as this. This is one of the larger ones. And we go all the way down through to number 29. There's that one I just showed you. And then we've also got these little keychain ones. So tiny little keychains in the same fabrics, but just little keychains. And we've also got this travel pack, which is sunglasses, an eye mask, and a small purse or a glasses case or something. So that's number 36. So if you'd like to get involved, every single baht that is raised will go to Seeds of Change. Indeed, when I confirm your bid, you'll be given the bank account for Seeds of Change. So we're not making anything out of this. All the money goes to Seeds of Change, and there's information in that article about Seeds of Change and why they're a great charity and why they deserve your support. So that article I'll put as a link in the description after this video. I know I should have put it in before the video, but as usual, I forgot. So let's go to more of your comments. Got a friend in ICU Chiang Mai, reckon it's to do with the air. Green Army, that's very sad to hear. I hope they're okay. Probably better off in ICU. At least I'll be getting some fresh air there. John Swift, at this time in the morning, I doesn't even remember where Australia or the UK is. Thanks, John. How many fuel stops is a G4, a Gulfstream 4 from Chicago to Singapore? Scott D says 2. Well, I've only got to worry about the bit from Phuket to Hong Kong. I think you could probably do that in one go, couldn't we, Scott, when you pick me up? So MB, 3,000 for a stuffed elephant. Hope that comes with a coupon for 60-minute massage. Okay, so you also get a signed photo with me with the elephant. They're a bit of a memento. More than anything, you are supporting a great charity. So, we've set minimum bids quite high, but the idea is that we want to try and raise some good money for them. I think we're up to about 90,000 baht, but I'm trying to get up to 200,000 baht to send to this charity because they certainly deserve it. So, link in the description to that article that'll tell you how to bid and give you an opportunity if you'd like to bid for one of those elephants. I'll put this one back. Hawaiian Hallie, whatever your name is. Eric Felix, thank you very much for your very kind support of the program. Hit that like button for one of the best broadcasters out there. Well, it's certainly not one of the best broadcasters. I'm probably the best broadcaster in my street. People walk past sometimes and peer in through the window, wonder what the hell I'm doing. Okay, MB says, fair enough. Good morning, Tim. I've been noticing piles of garbage on Jomtien Beach, says Francisco Mart. I can't attest to that. Maybe other people in the comment section may be able to confirm if there are problems with the garbage levels on Jomtien Beach, that beautiful new wide beach you've got up there, and certainly made a big change to the lifestyle. And I hope those beaches remain. I'm just fearing that there might be a storm one day and half of it gets sort of washed away again. But at the moment, it looks spectacular. Now, speaking of life up there, I've got another story here. Here we go. And this is from the Pattaya. I've got to click on that. This is from the PattayaNews.com. Seahorse Ferry in Sattahip to reopen on February the 16th. This would be a great trip and something to include on your itinerary if you're heading up that way. The Seahorse Ferry, one of Chonburi's most trusted ferry operators, suspect that the Pattaya News were paid for this article, is finally back to business starting next Thursday, February the 16th, 2023, just in time for my birthday. The Seahorse Ferry Company has announced the relaunch of its weekly service between Sattahip and Samui, commencing next week. So travelling from just south of Pattaya, Sattahip there on the corner, and making its way across the Gulf of Thailand to Samui. This will be great for both the Pattaya and Chonburi areas and also for Koh Samui. And it says it's a weekly service. I think it'll be very, very busy, and I wouldn't mind actually doing that. Maybe that could be part of my road trip. have to have a think about it. I'm not sure if, I suppose it would take, 7 or 8 hours for that trip? It would be an overnight service. So I'll keep an eye on that and see if I can actually get a ticket. Richard Barrow, he'd be able to give me some information. He'd be able to find me a good seat. Thanks, Richard. The ferry's been previously temporarily paused for business for repairs and maintenance to ensure all guests are as safe as possible on their journey. Yeah, they've been paid for this. And yes, there is a link to their Facebook page. Unfortunately, it was all in Thai, so I didn't bother going to that because I couldn't read it, and probably neither can you. But great to see that service returning. Question: could we all have a Christmas party in Patong for all of us? Well, I mean, we've got a few months to plan, haven't we? We probably could, but I can't even sort of think about the rest of what's happening today, let alone Christmas. If I was doing Christmas, I probably wouldn't go to Patong. I could think of better places I'd rather go. Many better places. I mean, if we were going to meet, we'd probably meet in Bangkok, wouldn't we? That might be easier for most people to get together. Who named the elephant, says Reg. Depends if you like the names or not. If you really like the names, I did. If you don't like the names, then it was Nick. He'll be back next week, by the way. What else have we got here? Nongwa. So let's do the party at the Aussie bar on Bangla Road, says Hans. I think we'd be battling to sort of fit in there. If there was 3 of us, we'd be battling to fit into the Aussie bar. Especially, can you imagine Bangla Road at Christmas time? No, probably not a place I know the people down the Aussie bar, great people, and a lot of people have a lot of fun down there. But a Christmas dinner to me would be a traditional, the ham and the turkey and all the trappings, plum pudding, and lots of presents for me. The good news is that you've got a few months to save up for a very expensive present for me. But don't spend any more than, say, 30,000 baht. I'd be embarrassed, really. Scott D's referring to the Hong Kong Gentlemen's Club located in Tijuana, Mexico. Is that what you're talking about, Scott? I thought you were going to come and pick me up and take me to high tea in Hong Kong at the Peninsula Hotel. That's what I was assuming, which I have done once in the past. Let's do the party at Cafe Del Mar, Kamala Beach. Not one of my favourite places for a whole lot of reasons. Scott D, what was the location back in 1992 and again in 2002? Too dangerous now, no joke. Christmas party at OTOP. You might have to help me out, Nongwa. So what is OTOP? I'm not sure. Book out the crab, the stoned crab, which is down in Rawai, which is where Nick works and his family owns. So we could be down at the Stoned Crab Pub. That's a pretty busy location as well. I think I'd invite you all to my home. That's what I'd do. Because there's only probably 3 of you that would come anyway, and we can have a swim in the pool and you can come and talk to the cats. Hard pass on the plum pudding, says Stefan. Oh, I do love plum pudding. Just to mention a few more stories. Look, thank you, everybody, for joining in. I don't know how many people we've got on at the moment. I can't actually see the numbers. Is there a number there? I don't really know my way around. This has been a while since I've done a live, but let's talk about this rather disturbing story yesterday in Phuket and reported by Phuket-go.com. Phuket bus siege finishes with 2 people shot and the shooter dead. Yesterday morning, a shooting incident took place on a Phuket to Patalung interprovincial bus in the just south of the main district of Phuket. Approximately 6:50 a.m., a fellow passenger reportedly shot 2 individuals. They ended up in hospital. Third paragraph down, the incident prompted a quick response from local authorities. 30 police arrived at the scene. In the next paragraph, 9 individuals on board the bus were when it left the transport company's terminal for Patalong at 6:40. 10 minutes into the journey, the driver heard a gunshot from the back of the bus, followed by a female passenger running towards him. Obviously, they pulled over The gunman was sitting in the middle of the bus before he walked to the back and opened fire on at least 2 people. The driver said the man's behaviour was very relaxed. And then down the bottom, the shooter shot himself around 11:10 a.m. on the bus as police were attempting to negotiate with him for surrender. And police fired tear gas into the vehicle after negotiations with the man's relatives broke down. The 2 injured passengers were taken to a nearby hospital. Apparently, he was a former soldier in the Thai army and had some mental health issues. A very sad incident there that happened in Phuket, very dramatic. Not to about a 5-minute drive from where I am here. And it happened on the main artery in Thailand, in Phuket. It's called Thep Kasatri Road, and it closed down the traffic for about 5 hours, northbound and southbound. It was very, very, very slow as police were trying to divert traffic around that particular area. The police, by the way, did a terrific job and spent at least 4 hours trying to resolve the situation before, then storming the bus, whereby they found the man dead behind a seat. Going back to your comments, will Super Bowl be on regular TV on Monday? I have no idea, Don. Absolutely no idea. If you're talking about here in Thailand, I imagine, well, I know the Stoned Crab Pub in Rawai is going to be broadcasting at some very early morning. £5 from Kimo. Oh, thank you. I'll get very embarrassed when people support the program. But Kimo, thank you very much for your kind donation. Weed money to Nick next time. Program is better with him. Thanks, Kimo. He will be back next week, you'll be glad to hear. So I won't be giving him that money for that purpose. But he does get paid, by the way. Where's Tom's sidekick? You're talking about Tim's sidekick? Detroit, Dan. Thank you very, very much for your kind support. And I don't solicit these donations, but they're very much appreciated. And it's good when the equipment that we've invested in does work and you get to see a half-decent program of some good quality. Tim, you've got over 400 now. That's fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for dropping in and joining in our Saturday morning. I mean, it is a spectacular day. Look, I'm not going to go and grab the camera. Last time I did that, things went awry, so I'm not going to do that. Tons of Aussie bars at the O-Top Market, says Alain. So the O-Top Market. Where is the O-Top Market? Oh, is that the one? It's on the one to the third road. I can't remember all these roads in Patong. The one sort of behind Jung Silon. Is that the O-Top Market? I think so. So just going back through Ian McNamee, not enough for weed. I wouldn't know, and I don't think Nick does either. Can we please stop talking about this town in Australia? Thank you, Reg. Yes, I think we've established where Merimbula is, roughly. Greetings from my house in the village outside Konkan, says Charles. Thank you, Charles. Now, that's a really nice part of the world up there, and I think in the future we're going to be hearing more about Isan and that sort of area north of Isan up towards the Lao border. Very pretty part of the world, and I think a place that could be very popular for tourism in the future. I think the days, well, I always say that the days of the beaches, bars and temples, we sort of have to move on about that. I think Thailand tourism has matured from that, although there's a lot of you that still enjoy those 3 commodities. But I'm sure that there's a lot more to Thai tourism, and the people, I think, getting the most out of visiting Thailand these days are the ones that explore beyond the beaches, the bars and the temples, and places like Konkan and north around Isan and that area. What do you call it? Loi? One of those hard words to say, up near the border across to Vientiane. An apartment rental I like in Phuket was $16,000 and is now $42,000, says Rick Chu. This is one of the problems at the moment. Some of the villa rentals are just wretched. They have doubled, or in that case, more than tripled in price. So this is a problem, but it's a bit of a short-term problem because now as people start to leave and some of the tourism numbers level off, I think we are seeing a drop in the number of tourists, and this will bring the prices back down again. But people paying up to like 5,000 baht a week for a motorbike that you could usually rent out for 1,500 to 2,000. Car rental prices I know are at least twice the price they used to be. So much so that I rented out my car. Somebody made me an offer and I said, yeah, that's fine. And I rented out my car. So I'm getting around on my motorbike at the moment. Just zooming down here at the moment. Thanks very much to Detroit Dan, by the way. And Kimo, thank you very much. No, I won't be smoking that stuff, but thank you, Kimo, for the offer. And thank you for your very kind donation. We do enjoy your ongoing support of the program, Kimo. Thanks for dropping in. Jungle Life, good morning from northern Thailand. It's still cold up in the mountains. 12 degrees this morning at 900 meters. Now, when we talk about the mountains in Thailand, we're not talking about the Himalayas. The mountains in Thailand are not that high, but certainly when you get to the top of them, it's quite a lot cooler. And I'm not sure which particular mountain. Are we talking about the ones around Chiang Mai? But thank you, Jungle Life, for that. 12 degrees up on one of the mountains, and they can get down probably back in January. You could have got down to almost zero and got a frost up near the top of one of those mountains. Not so much now as it starts to warm up. All the more reason for me to come in the bus. Snacks. Kimo, stop it. Stop it. Kimo, please stop. Thank you very much, though. Cat food. Don't know where the cats are. I thought they might drop in. The thing is, once I feed them in the morning, they're out of here. They're out doing shopping. They go on boat tours. They have to sometimes go up to the airport, pick up their friends. So I don't really get to see the cats much after I feed them. Until, of course, it's nighttime feeding time and they turn up on the dot. I could organise my watch, set it to an alarm by those cats. They know exactly when it's going to be feeding time. OTOP, something to do with one province. Yes, I think there's a place called there's no more cat jokes. I think there is an OTOP market over the road from the back of Jung Silon. I don't really get down to Patong that often. The busier it gets, the less likely I like it. I'm not really into crowds, and it's very busy and crowded in Patong at the moment. And good luck to all the hoteliers down there and the people who are trying to make a buck. Bruce Snyder lived in Rawai for 4.5 years, was awesome. Moved to a quiet area of Thailand in November. Happy I moved out, don't need those crowds and clogged streets. Yeah, Rawai has become very, very busy. And it somehow came into its own during the COVID, those 3 years, 2.5 years. And it's really rebooted and turned into a great tourist area. Now, I think the locals are sort of wondering where all the crowds have come from, but it's turned into quite a popular, like a second Patong. Nothing quite like Patong. There could only be one Patong, but it certainly turned into probably the second busiest area in Phuket, right down the very south of the island. Is it the Russians causing the price to rise? Well, certainly the highest number of international travellers to not only Thailand but also Phuket at the moment are Russians. And they are paying cash for a lot of things because sometimes their credit cards and methods of payment don't work. So they're putting cash on the table and paying for villas like a year in advance. So stories are getting back to me. Renting cars for 6 months, cash in advance. And I think, yes, a lot of that behaviour has pushed up the prices. Also, things like visa agents are saying they can't process the visas as fast as they want to because of the number of visas they're trying to process for both Chinese and Russian people at the moment. I think all these problems are going to wash themselves out over the next couple of months. And I've always said that this huge influx of Russian people into Thailand at the moment is not what you'd call sustainable tourism. Of course, it's great to have these people visiting for whatever reasons and spending money in the Thai economy, but it is artificially pushing prices up at this moment, and it's a bit hard to base your tourism economy around the things that are happening in Russia and Ukraine at the moment, which may be artificially adding to the numbers of people visiting some of the favourite tourist zones. Just scrolling down, Otop is in Ratutit Songroy Road in Patong. Lots of small bars there. Ay, Otop. Ratutit Road, that's the second road, so it's the front of Jung Salon, not the back. Okay, I'll have to go and check that out. Tim, any news on the 45 days continuing to the end of 2023? Asks Ian McNamee. Ian, look, at the moment, we don't know. Usually, the Thai government leave it to the last minute to make these changes. At the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be the last minute, but at the moment, there is no change. The 45-day visa waiver, it used to be 30 days. They've now made it, since October last year, 45 days, automatic arrival, 45 days in your passport. It's a visa exemption. Will it continue past March the 31st? There's been proposals for it to go to the end of the year, but nothing has been confirmed at the moment. My guess is that it will be, but there's no announcement on that at the moment. And that refers to some 64 countries around the world, which includes most of the Western tourism feeder countries into Thailand. The people that don't need to apply for a visa or get visa on arrival. Those 64 countries currently get a visa exemption, and that lasts for 45 days, and that's extendable for another 30 days for 1,900 baht. You have to do that at a Phuket, a Thai immigration office. Tim might hit the 500 goal. It'd be great to get to 500. I don't think I've ever got to 500. So that's the latest I know, Ian. I wish I could be more positive for you, but at the moment, we might have to wait a few more weeks. The Tourism Ministry, though, has applied for the 45-day visa exemption to continue through to the end of the year. I can't see any reason why they wouldn't. They will need to encourage people to come here as the numbers start to flatline. And if they want to keep the numbers going during the low season or when the wet season starts. So I tip that it will, but it hasn't at the moment. Tim, when Natty come? Natty lives in Bangkok. I don't think she's coming down to Phuket. If she does come to Phuket, of course, she'll be very welcome to come onto the program. However, on the 22nd of February, we do have a guest coming onto the program who may be familiar to some of you. We'll see what happens there. Tim, that's cheap. Any other Thai beers in out? Talking to each other. The Snives. Unbelievably, I did a trip to Compton and Tijuana back in 92. That's nice. I'm sort of here mostly to talk about Thailand. But anyway, first time watching live rather than podcast later. Very enjoyable. Thanks, Eric. I love everybody joining in and people talking to each other. And when I get things wrong, then it's great when you correct me. Of course, doing a live program, I will get many things wrong. I'm just a normal human being. I don't have 7 producers and people around me like other programs. So I will make mistakes from time to time, and you love correcting me, including... The other day, I made a comment. I was talking about that horrific death toll, which had risen above 21,000 at the time. And I talked about the fact that Istanbul was a fair way away from the epicenter of the earthquake. And I called it the capital of Turkey. Of course, the capital of Turkey is Ankara. And many people were happy to remind me that I made the mistake. Istanbul is the largest city, I think, in Turkey. It's a bit the same as when people, you say, what's the capital of Australia? And they say, oh, Sydney. But no, it's not Sydney, it's Canberra. So I think I fell into that trap in relation to Turkey and Istanbul. So apologies for making that mistake. Of course, as soon as they mentioned it, I went, of course, it's Ankara. Just also, Durian, thank you very much. Very, very much. If you've got a question or anything, it's for a coffee. I did have my coffee earlier, but I finished my coffee. I'm now on to a glass of water. I do have my one coffee every morning. It sort of gets me going for the day. Thank you very much, Durian, and I hope you're enjoying the program. Excuse me, just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Jet Gunther has a jet ski. Really? He lives up in Chiang Mai. What's he going to do with a jet ski in Chiang Mai? Jets coming to town will be very entertaining, says Richard. Maybe. Great job today, Kun Tim. Interesting show, says Siam Legal. Hello. If you're the Siam Legal, I think you are. Thank you for watching. The Snives. It was 4 years ago they cleaned up the Del Norte. We're talking about Mexico again. I've never been to Mexico. I would like to go to Mexico, if only to see that beach that, what's the gentleman's name out of the Shawshank Redemption, that final scene. That's on a Mexico beach. I'd like to go to that beach. Picking up a BYD Atto 3 next week, says Durian from Bangkok Airport car rental. Looking forward to it. Lots of the international car chains in Thailand slowly building up their EV fleets. I'm getting things wrong now after 5 bottles of Leo. Having a good fine time there, up there in Isan. What's the weather like outside? It is perfect. It's currently 25 degrees. It's going to be 31 today. A few wispy high clouds, but we've got a light easterly wind, and the next 2 days are just going to be spectacular. So perfect weather here in Phuket today and in other parts of Thailand. A lot of smoke up north, and I'm very sorry for those people up there. Please keep safe. Don't breathe. That's probably the best thing you can do. But there's nothing that you really can do to avoid that unless you just have a trip further south this time of the year. The Thai government really can't do a lot about some of that smoke because a lot of it just floats across the borders where most of the fires are. I've shown you the fire map before. Most of the fires up in northern Thailand are in Myanmar, Laos and Cambodia. You're surrounded by these forest fires. Yes, there are people still burning off their plantation waste, and the government is trying to stamp that out. There's a lot less of it. And if you go to the fire maps, you can see that there's a lot fewer fires in northern Thailand than there used to be. But poor old places like Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai are suffering with the smoke from the plantation fires outside of Thailand. So there's a limited amount that the Thai government can actually do about that. Maybe that's something that ASEAN can do. Maybe it's time that ASEAN actually did something useful. That would be useful if they could get those countries together, bang their heads together and say, let's sort this out. Suspect they won't. Currently 24 degrees in Chiang Mai. Shocking pollution as per usual. Thank you very much, Hotel 360. And what do I say? It's just a shit fight up there at this time of the year and very unpleasant. Hence the reason that somebody from Chiang Mai might be heading south to spend a few days in the Newton Mansions. Jet's got a great news voice. He's a pleasant chap as well. So we look forward, perhaps, might be Jet, might not be Jet, might be. Why don't you take a break and go for a pee? Kimmo, stop it. Stop it right now. Can everybody put a message to Natty? She has to visit TNT Phuket soon. Nice to hear her. She can tell everything. Oh, you probably don't want to know. Kimmo, thank you very much. Look, as I said, if Natty turns up, she'd be more than welcome. Be nice to see her sunny face. And nothing is set in stone until it's in the Royal Gazette, says John. Yeah, look, I get that, John. And but once the ministers announce it, once the cabinet's given it the tick, it's basically just a rubber stamp to go into the Royal Gazette. But technically, you are correct. but we'll be announcing it once the ministers have proposed it and the cabinet approves it. We'll certainly be telling people, and they've got a pretty much 99.9% guarantee that anything passed by cabinet will go ahead. Given that sometime during March, the current parliament will be dissolved and there will be a short election campaign. Mind you, the election campaign is well underway, and we'll have a new government after May the 7th. That's my hot tip for the next election, and we will be talking in broad terms about what's happening with the election campaign, because depending who gets in will affect the future of things like tourism, the future of cannabis in Thailand. I mean, if the opposition get in, and you've invested a lot of money into the cannabis industry, I'd be just checking your documents, because there could be some changes to the way that cannabis is treated in Thailand. And my gut feeling is that the opposition will romp it in. Just looking at the latest polls, I mean, the polls are not even close. We're talking of 30, 40% for one party and 2 and 3%. I think the Bumjai Thai party received 4% in a recent poll. I think Anatun Shavirukun and the Bumjai Thai MPs will be scratching their head thinking, what can they do to get back in the game? Detroit Dan, has your prior employer had a changing of the guard since you departed? Well, I mean, the YouTube channel at The Tiger is just a tiny part of the business there. I don't keep in contact with many people there at all. When I do, we don't talk business. I talk to them because they're friends, and I really don't know what's going on there. But as I've said before, I wish them well, and I'm not sure about their current business model or what they're doing. Blah, 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 says Ian McNamee. Are you referring to me? Did I say something wrong? Tim, I was watching a guy burn off his sugarcane. I'll show that comment. And late today, Flower Park in Tim should get the whole team back. Look, what happened 3-4 years ago when we were raising the stakes of the YouTube channel, it's a different time, and I've now got a different situation. I'm basically basing myself in Phuket. I'm not returning to live in Bangkok, and most of those people live up there or have moved back to Chiang Mai or whatever, and they're moving on to do different things. So we've got Nick, who we're talking to these days. I've got the Snake Man coming tomorrow. There will be other people turning up on the program in the past, but these are new faces. I mean, we had a talk to Steve Ross a few weeks ago, and I'm trying to get Steve to come back because he's a funny man, and I do enjoy speaking to him. And he's got a really interesting view on life, and he's also a font of knowledge when it comes to Thai culture and a few other things. So, we'll have Steve on the program. So I want to introduce you to new faces. Let's not look back to the past. Let's look to the future. One coffee, my goodness, I couldn't survive on one. Well, I'd seem to do okay. I enjoy my coffee. And did I have any other stories I wanted to talk about? No, that's about it. I think I covered the main stories and spoke about the things that I wanted. Nobody's really chimed in to talk much about the Thai baht, but everybody, as I mentioned earlier, has got different ideas when it comes to what is keeping the Thai baht, in some cases, they say artificially high. It certainly seems to be holding its strength. And as I mentioned, tomorrow I'm just doing a video looking at the pound versus the Thai baht, because that's quite a unique story over the past 20 years. And its perspective on people from the UK that live here in Thailand. Wayne Baston has been very kind to donate $10. Thanks for mentioning Isan and Khon Kaen. There's much more to Thailand than the beaches and the bars. Absolutely. And I mean, if I was able to, and if I didn't have other responsibilities here at home, I mean, this is a side gig that I do, and I love doing it. And it sort of pays me a bit of pocket money. But I would love to do like a road tour right around Thailand to places that you haven't been, and to show you places other than the places that most of you already know. Get off the well-worn track and turn left and go to the road less travelled. I'd love to do that. The idea was I was going to have an electric car, because the modern electric cars, you can get the power out and power up computers and charge batteries and have a kettle and a TV, and you can do all those sorts of things. So I had all these plans of doing a sort of a road tour with the electric car, but I've had problems with supply to get a car. I actually had a drive of another electric car, apropos of nothing in particular. It was an MG4. And that thing, it really moved. And it's a rear wheel drive. A very sporty looking, basically a hatchback. But boy, did that car move. It sort of reminded me of the sporty nature of MGs back in the 60s. MG now, of course, owned by the Chinese. And this was a quality car. A little bit plasticky inside, but very well built, beautifully put together. Fantastic to drive. Rear wheel drive. All the weight's way down low, 50-50 weight distribution. So I wanted to have a drive of this car, and I was very pleasantly surprised. And I think with everything, it was 960,000 baht, under $1 million baht, for a very modern, fully electric hatchback with all the toys and all the technology. Very comfortable seats, plenty of room in the back, big boot. The looks, you either like it or don't, but it really gave me a reminder of what MG was all about. But that was a great drive this week, but still waiting for the delivery of my BYD Atto 3. I don't know. I think the Thais are getting priority over any foreign orders. Maybe that's a conspiracy theory. Yes, Gunnar, you're completely correct. I'm not going to read that one out, but you're right. Okay, just a few more comments. We've clicked over 10 o'clock. I need to go and get my hair cut. Richard Evans, maybe sometimes talk about how it works to move your dog from Australia to Thailand. You mentioned that you did all the logistics, but unfortunately your dog died. Yes, poor old Molly didn't quite get here, but we had her place booked on the aeroplane. Her place on the aeroplane was more expensive than mine, and it actually wasn't that difficult. Minimal paperwork, and when your pets arrive here in Thailand, they come out on the baggage carousel, and you pick them up and you take them home. Very little paperwork. Going back in the other direction is literally or almost impossible, and certainly probably not worth putting your pet through that. But there were the people. Blah, 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 blah. I'll get to your question a second, Chris. The actual process of bringing a pet from Australia to Thailand was not difficult at all. And if you book through Thai Airways, I mean, there's quite a few companies that do it. I think Singapore Airlines do it. They will give you the links and tell you about the places you need to go for the documentation. But it was a very easy process. But it was 12 years ago when I did it. It might be quite different now. But I'll see if I can dig out some information and address that, because a lot of people, they love their pets and they want to bring them if they're moving to Thailand. I just know that the process of going back in the other direction to a lot of countries can be very, very difficult and probably over onerous on the poor pet. So it's probably a one-way trip for the pet. Tim, when will the auction site be updated with pledges? Well, probably going to do that live, maybe next Saturday. Let's say next Saturday we're going to be reading out all the auction updates, and we'll run a sort of a live auction and to either build up on those pledges or sell the elephants that haven't had auction the elephants that haven't had a pledge. So we'll do that as a special program next Saturday when Nick returns. So we're going to have elephants all over the place. I'll try and get either Sean from 5 Star Marine, who owns, who's the chairman of Living Waters Phuket, who are sort of the overriding charity that runs things like Seeds of Change, for which this money is going to. Or I'll try and get Sam into the studio. So we'll do that next Saturday, live auction. We'll finish it all off, draw the line, and get you to make your donations, your pledges to Seeds of Change. Wonder if the cats will stay around when the snake man comes tomorrow. Rachel, I'm hoping he's not going to bring a snake. I've asked him not to, but I know he probably will. He can keep it in a bag outside. I don't... the cats... Oh, no, the cats wouldn't like the snake. No, that wouldn't go well. The cats don't like the snake. I don't care what sort of snake it is. I don't care if it's the most tame, well-behaved, unvenomous snake. I just don't do snakes. Spiders don't bother me at all. Snakes, I just don't do snakes. It's not that I fear them. It's just that I just don't like snakes. My nephew has an MG Electric, same as you described. He's happy with it and saved money on fuel. Thank you, Richard Townsend. You can try doing a short road trip, says KJ, with the weekday programs pre-recorded. I've lost your thing, KJ. Where are you? It's gone past. Sorry, KJ, but thank you for that. Richard, thanks for the information about moving the dog. Yes, only one way when I'm planning to move. Yeah, I think Australia, getting your dog back to Australia would be very, very difficult. But here in Thailand, my understanding is that they arrive on the baggage carousel and you pick them up and off you go. Take them home. George Brooks, I've noticed your cats are living very rough times under very harsh conditions. Is there anything you can do to make their lives more comfortable? Yeah, the cats have got a pretty rough life. They get 2 meals a day. They get lots of pats. They usually come and visit me when I'm sort of watching TV or doing some emails later in the evening and sit and help me. They're very critical of the work I do. They keep me in check. But every time I turn the microphone, it says they scatter. I don't know why. I used international pet transport. My cat turned up safe and well. Well, most of the animals travel very well, and the airlines that do carry the pets, they do it every day. They know how to make sure the pets are safe, and most of them, they travel down in the baggage area, but it's all pressurized. I think some of the owners sometimes, for some of the more high-strung pets, might give them a little bit of medication just to keep them calm during their trip, but most of the pets arrive safe and well. And a few final comments. Do the dogs get a rough trip? Rough. Thank you, Nong Urso. Bangtao tourist mix these days, coming in next week from the USA. Dave. Well, look, I mean, there are a lot of Russian people in Phuket at the moment. There's about 5,000 or 6,000 Russian people arriving each day. And there's no getting around that. I mean, I'm not making a racist comment there. That's just the fact that most of the people arriving at the moment are from one nationality, about 40% in Phuket. I don't think it's quite the same high percentage in other parts of Thailand, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was over 30% for the rest of Thailand as well at the moment. And that's just the way it is. Problem is the price to charge your car at a rapid charger, says the Snives. Yes, I mean, if I was getting an electric car, I'd mostly be just charging it overnight. You can charge most of these cars overnight on your own power supply. The electric cars come with a sort of a converter that converts the 24 volts to 240 volts to whatever your car needs. But yes, I think some of the rapid chargers are, well, they're not expensive, but at least they do charge. Still cheaper than petrol from what I can see. Albert Coe, about 600 baht a month. That's from Chris Roberts. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tim, says Dave Henry. In Finland, we have one... Hey, can hardly see a thing. Set up a couple of solar panels, says the Snives. Really glad I don't live in Phuket, says RD Win. Can you discharge? You talking about me or talking about the electric car? Yes, just on all the ones I've seen, you can take electricity out of the car battery and you can run things that run on 240 volts, like a kettle. You can have a cup of coffee. You can run a TV or anything that runs on 240 volts. So it'd be great for camping. You can just plug into your car and have some of the comforts home in your tent. Or if you've got a very, thanks Ian, I will. Or if you've got people directing me how to run the program, great. Or if you've got a very big SUV, I suppose you could sleep in the back. I know the Huawei, no, not the Huawei, the Haval, the GMW Haval, GWM. Oh, there's Dina. Come to say hello, have you? Come and say hello here. Come and say hello to everybody. There's Dina. You can just say hello. Don't chat on the buttons. Oh, God, anything can happen. But Dina's come to say goodbye. What are you doing? Cleaning your fur. So, yes, a good time to say goodbye. Why anyone would sleep in a tent is crazy. It's like wrapping of a burger of a bear or a tiger or whatever. Okay, thanks, everybody. So, Nick will be back next week. I've got the snake guy on tomorrow. Thanks, Ian, for the suggestion to get off. And it's been great having you for the past hour. Hopefully you've learned a few more things about Thailand, had a chat with each other, joined our little TNT family. And I always enjoy doing this. And it's always a bit of a complete schmozzle because I've got things to read, I've got buttons to press, and I've also got stories I'm trying to relate to you. But we've done our best. We'll do our best tomorrow with the snake guy. So get ready, all your questions about snakes in Thailand, because this guy is a font of knowledge. So thanks for joining in, and we look forward to seeing you next time. It's been a pleasure having you with us, and thanks to all the members of the TNT family. See you soon.